everyone praises because this bridge went down on I-95 and he got it back up in 12 days.
Yeah. How did he do it?
Well, he took all the regulation and lawsuits off the table.
Yeah.
And so we have to recognize that.
Coppola, Davidovic.
On home soil, they've only conceded 3. But both teams are capable of scoring goals. Both teams like to play attractive football. So we may have the full package here today. Dominguez steps in, and that's just hit the referee. It'll be a drop ball. Dodò. Colpani just marshalled out a play there by Emil Holm. Holm, who's got the big shoes of Juan Miranda to fill. The Spaniard has been a regular starter since his arrival in Italy. Miranda, who he himself had big shoes to fill, the shoes of Riccardo Calafiori. Holm. Skorupski, who made a number of sublime saves to deny the Benfica attackers in the Champions League in midweek. There was a question as to whether or not Federico Ravaglia would be preferred to Skorupski as Dodò comes forwards and finds Colpani. This is dangerous. Colpani uses Dodò. Cataldi's cross, Pobega in the way. And that's a miscued pass by Yassine Adli. Time the free kick goes in favour of Bologna. Santiago Castro, who's very strong, doesn't seem the most physically imposing of players, but very solid on his feet. Lukumi, that's a wasted pass. Gozens, Freuler intercepts. Fiorentina supporters starting the hostilities in the stands as well, with the chant of "Chi non salta Bolognese è." If you're not jumping up and down, then you're from Bologna. It's a wonderful atmosphere inside the Renato Dallara. The previous record attendance this season was set at 25,000 only a couple of days ago. That's now been beaten as Moise Kean is through. A little bit too hard, that one. Looking for Beltran. Cataldi keeps it alive. Dan Doy now. Dan Doy, speedy and away from Cataldi. Bologna coming forwards for the first time. And Doy has Dominguez. Took a little touch off Dodò, and that took the sting out of the shot. Well defended by Fiorentina. Adli. Lukumi to Holm. Now Pobega. Lukumi. Space on the far side for Berkema, but it's Remo Freuler who's chosen. Remo Freuler, who makes his 250th Serie A appearance today. Not as young as he once was, Freuler, particularly when he played for Atalanta, but he still is so effective in that central midfield position. His ability to control the pace of games, his vision to find intricate passes, excellent. Lukumi has Ndoye available. Goes to Berkema. Lukumi allowed to come forwards. Dominguez. Ball forwards, dealt with by Ranieri, one back by Tommaso Pobega. Unleashed a ferocious strike there. The former Torino man, Tommaso Pobega, who is on loan at Bologna from Milan. Ken, at the moment, being held on to. Pobega wins it back nicely. Referee allows advantage. Dominguez. Dominguez. A little bit greedy there, the youngster. It's Castro who runs into him. Dominguez with a quick feet to get away from his immediate marker. But he had options left and right and chose to go for goal. David De Gea. Now Dodò. Colpani to Ken. Goodmanson's racing onto this one. Goodmanson over Skorupski. Fiorentina players are appealing for a penalty. We've gone all the other way as Dan Ndoye. Long way round, Cataldi. Bologna attacking on the other side. It's Dominguez once more. Dominguez readjusts. Now Holm. Pobega. Freuler. Shot blocked. Lukumi. Really enjoyable start to the game. Dominguez once again. Holm. This is going to be a big test as well for young Pietro Comuzzo in the Fiorentina backline. Really cemented that centre-back partnership with Luca Ranieri. Holm to Odegaard. Castro waits. Shot blocked by Comuzzo. Ken. Silvestri hasn't got the legs he used to have when he played for Fiorentina all those years ago. Lukumi there was just a little bit nonchalant, and Goodmanson had already played the ball. Would have been a very, very harsh decision to award a penalty there. Skorupski takes a risk though as he goes to ground. Definitely catches the man and not the ball. Fiorentina on the front foot again. Goodmanson. It's a yellow card shown to Pobega. The initial foul outside the box. Wonderful already. Gudmundsson. Ranieri just ran up to the referee saying, "Sta andando in porta." He's clean through a goal. Hinting that Michael Fabri could have gotten a straight red card out there. Asa Pobega was sent off not long ago for a very rash tackle on Matteo Guendouzi, which at the time warranted him a second yellow card. Bologna, who had gone toe-to-toe with Lazio until that point, then were overwhelmed by the Biancocelesti. Pobega now is going to have to be very careful with every tackle he makes. Fiorentina, meanwhile, have an excellent free kick. This looks perfect for the left foot of Andrea Colpani. It is Colpani, and it's kicked away by Castro. Adli. Comuzzo. Here's Ranieri. De Silvestri with the shove there in the back of Lucas Beltran. Very clearly pushing the Argentine. It's going to be an interesting matchup down Bologna's right flank, as Gudmundsson has a sight at goal. Stopped there by the Bologna defenders. Odgaard. Dodò intercepts. Excellent defending on the front foot from the Brazilian. Now Colpani. Brought down by Holm. Looked to be a little bit of a foul there on Colpani. Dominguez. Excellent body feints there by Dominguez, and the awareness as well to pick out Castro. Dominguez racing up alongside Castro, and Castro's pass just lets him down right at the end. There's a yellow card that's been shown by Michael Fabri. I wonder if it was given to Dodò, who was in the vicinity of the referee. I didn't quite see that. Castro's pass just lets him down. Here was the possible foul on Colpani. If you're a defender, you say that's soft. If you're an attacker, you say he was definitely caught. It's been a breathless start to the game. Ken, too strong. Beltran. Really good play there from Lucas Beltran, and good to see that he didn't throw himself to the ground on the contact. Here he is again, Beltran. Stays on his feet once again. Had a chance to use Colpani. Skorupski just chooses to calm things down a little bit. Lukumi. Comuzzo. Very impressive this season, Pietro Comuzzo. Still only 19 years old, but he shows a maturity for his age that is very uncommon. De Gea looking for Moise Ken. Adli, Ranieri, Cataldi. Ranieri forced backwards. De Gea. And Dodon. A little bit lucky with that one, the Brazilian. Well, that's a very good pass to pick out Goodmanson. Doi tracking back. Really good play from the Swiss. And it's Bologna's turn to once again break forwards. You know, you talk about the catenaccio in Italian football, parking the bus and making sure you don't concede chances. This is anything but. It's been really open so far. And from a neutral's point of view, you hope that they're able to sustain this kind of pace to the game. Skorupski. De Silvestri. And he got his positioning spots on. Berkema. Now Cataldi. Lukumi. Cataldi falls to Ken. And Ken makes no mistake with the finish. But the flag is up. But such is his form at the moment that the slightest sight at goal will result in the net bulging. Puts that away so well. Does look offside though from the replay we've just seen. Offside decision confirmed by Michael Fabri. Skorupski. Pobega. Clever pass to Odgaard. Doi, Odgaard again. Even if Dan and Doi had kept on running there, I'm not quite sure he would have reached the ball. It's going to break here for Colpani. Manages to keep it in play. Little isolated Colpani. Pass one. Home comes back. Here's Lukumi. Hall. Skorupski wasn't close to keeping that one in play. Ken. Freuler commits the foul. But it's the sort of thing that Remo Freuler, Berkema, Tommaso Pobega are all going to have to do. Easy Ken has been in such good form this season. He's been so difficult to grab a hold of. There you can see that he was offside, the Italian striker. Yassin Adli to take charge of this free kick. Ken Komutso to aim for in the middle. Gozens arrives. It's towards Ken, but well held on to there by the Bologna goalkeeper. Berkema. De Silvestri. Freuler. Pobega. Beltran. Now Robin Gozens. Ranieri. Colpani. Brought to Fiorentina by Raffaele Palladino, who saw Colpani's play his best football. He was at Monza under the guidance of Palladino. 2 goals and an assist so far in Serie A for Colpani. Here's Pietro Komutso. Lee. Ken. Offside given against Moise Ken. For the first time in the game, we are seeing a little bit of a lull after 20 minutes, almost at full speed from both sets of players. Pobega. Holm. Dominguez. Off Colpani last. Taldi just signalling towards his teammate to be a little bit more solid in the challenge. Bologna are 8th in the Serie A standings, but they've only lost 2 games so far this season. The problem for Bologna has been winning games, more so at the start of the campaign than it has been over the last couple of matches, but it was illustrated when they let a 2-goal lead against Juventus slip. Freuler, Odegaard, Pobega. Dodor's very, very quick. Dominguez trying to make life difficult for Dodor, who's given that straight to Castro. Risky play. Castro. Pobega, Odegaard. Odegaard still. De Silvestri. Pulls it back straight to an opposition player there, De Silvestri, and Berkema is too strong for Moise Ken. Silvestri back to his feet. Stefan Posch, who was an injury doubt for the game, has just picked up his warm-up there. The eventuality that he has to come on the pitch. Fiorentina and Chiterio's players not having it all their way in this game, far from it. We're still waiting for the first real clear-cut chance of the match. Dominguez with a couple of half chances for Bologna. Goodmanson and Ken likewise for Fiorentina. Pobega, Castro, Odegaard. Odegaard leaves it for Ndoye. De Silvestri and Ndoye. there, just telling Odegaard before, giving it earlier. Lukumi. Once again, Komutso doing everything he needs to do correctly there to nullify the threats of Santiago Castro. Castro, who's made that number 9 jersey his own. Questions at the start of the season as to whether or not it would be him or Tis Dolinga who would lead the line for Bologna this season. Dolinga, who was brought in for a considerable amount of money from Toulouse in the French Ligue 1. Who scored 14 goals for the TFC in the French top division. Castro, who was still a much more raw talent. Four goals for him so far this season, Santiago Castro. He only scored 1 in his previous Serie A experiences. Bologna also playing with the considerable absence of Riccardo Orsolini, who is the club's top scorer in the league so far this campaign. 6 goals for Orsolini, but also the threat that Orsolini brings with his movement, with his speed. Castro will be a Bologna ball. Castro so keen to move it along quickly. At times in his mannerisms and with his strength, Castro reminds me a little bit of a young Carlos Tevez. Similar sorts of player. Bergkamp, lovely ball. There is Castro. Dan and Doy can run a Gozens. Dan and Doy trying to thread the pass through. Fiorentina ball. Bergkamp, Adli, Freuler in the way. Lukumi now. Back to square one. Half an hour gone at the Renato Dallara, still goalless, but it has been a really enjoyable game so far between Bologna and Fiorentina. Dodon. A bit too much weight on the ball there. Dominguez unable to challenge for it. Vincenzo Italiano, who has the same number of points that Thiago Motta had at this stage last season. So much was made in the summer since he was announced as the new Bologna head coach, and the fact that Bologna lost arguably their 2 best players in the form of Calafiori and Joshua Zirkzee, both who departed for the Premier League, and Arsenal and Manchester United respectively. But he's done well, Italiano, and he's looking to do even better. Odegaard, he's got a good left foot on him, Odegaard. Has Holm. Holm goes inside. It's a free kick that's given against the Swedish left back. Italiano, who is of course very fondly remembered during his time at Fiorentina by the Viola supporters and the staff and owners have only positive things to say about Vincenzo Italiano. First season in charge of Fiorentina after joining them from Spezia. He finished 7th, qualifying La Viola for the Europa Conference League and bringing them back into the European fold after a 5-year hiatus. They reached the final of the Conference League where they were beaten 2-1 by West Ham in a game where arguably Fiorentina were the better side. Once again able to qualify for Europe that season. Once again they reached the final against Olympiacos where they were beaten in extra time. Pobega has Dominguez. Dominguez quickly closed down by Colpani and Dodot. Home just too strong there for Dodot. That'll be the one perhaps source of bitterness for Italiano. The fact that he reached 3 finals with Fiorentina without ever being able to win one, twice in the Europa Conference League, and he also reached the Coppa Italia final in his 2nd season, beaten 2-1 by Inter in that game. It's physical out there, as these replays suggest, but it's all contributing to what has been a really good duel. These are 2 teams that are playing some of the best football at the moment in the Italian top flight. Bologna have won 3 of the last 5 Serie A matches, losing only to Lazio and dropping points against Juventus, as we've already discussed, in a game where they probably should have won it had it not been for Mbangula's late strike. Lukumi. Fiorentina, of course, have been bettered only by Atalanta over the course of the last 2-3 months. Skorupski goes long. Also, once again, first to it. Dominguez. Cataldi chip forwards, and Ken is after this one. Ken. Lukumi and Berkema sticking very close together as they try and stop Moise Ken from using his physical attributes to get the better of the Bologna defence. 10 minutes to go in this first half. Dan Ndoye allowed to turn. Dan Ndoye. His passing's just let him down a little bit in this first half. Dan Ndoye. Berkema. Lukumi. And Moise Ken. Maybe landed awkwardly there after he jumped for the ball. He's not moving freely at all. To try and run that one off. Lukumi finds Odgaard. That pass has been available a few times for Bologna. Odgaard. It's very difficult what he was trying to do. Could score and probably will score at some point this season. More a question of when than if. Moise Ken reaches double figures in Serie A for the first time in his career. He actually scored his very first Serie A goal for Juventus against Bologna in 2017. He burst onto the scene as this promising youngster. Didn't quite happen for Moise Ken at Juventus, with the pressure of the Bianconeri shirt on his shoulders. Stints in the Premier League with Everton, which didn't necessarily work out. His highest scoring season was with Paris Saint-Germain in Ligue 1. Before then eventually returning to Italy, where once more he wasn't capable of showing his full potential and skill. He's certainly doing so here with Fiorentina. Beltran, Gudmundsson, Adli, nice feet. Gudmundsson, Ken, Beltran, Ken, under the legs there of Tommaso Pobega. Pobega, who is on a yellow card, is going to have to tread very, very carefully. Fiorentina so far haven't exploited their set pieces, but they've been one of the deadliest sides in Serie A from dead ball situations. Gudmundsson, low, Cataldi, De Silvestri away, Beltran fails to connect with it. Dominguez just prolongs the ball a little bit. Dodot to Adli, Dominguez wins it back, good play. Dominguez still. Kick won by Benjamin Dominguez. Showed a lot of his potential, Dominguez, in the Coppa Italia win against Monza a couple of weeks ago, where he scored and assisted in that game. Dan Ndoye has gone down clutching his face. Gosens didn't make contact with his face, but Ndoye's knee just buckled a little bit awkwardly there. The intensity is certainly present in this game, and Dan Ndoye is holding on to that right leg of his, which is the one that buckled a little bit unnaturally. Miguel Fabri explaining his decision to Bologna captain Lorenzo De Silvestri. Considering the injury to Riccardo Orsolini, this is certainly a player that Bologna can ill afford to lose. And you just saw as he came through him there, Gosens, the right leg just bends. Carlson's going to warm up. This doesn't look good for Dan Ndoye. A 24-year-old who had a couple of injuries, crashed into the post against Roma not long ago, which saw him leave the pitch there. He feared the worst, and he was taken off. Possibly a broken leg. It wasn't that bad, thankfully, for the Swiss, and you can see the Renato Dallara faithful who are watching on with concern. Less so for this young Fiorentina supporter. So Bologna at the moment playing with one man down. Castro this time gets the better of Comuzzo. Colpani. Pobega looking to close him down. Ken. Goodmanson, that's gorgeous play. Cataldi. Looks like this is going to be a Fiorentina corner. We haven't seen enough of this from the Viola midfielders, bursting through from midfield, particularly as Lukumi and Berkema are going very tight, with Moise Ken trying to keep him on a leash. Adley's corner. Ken Skorupski able to collect it, but once again the Polish goalkeeper earning his stripes in the Bologna goal. Ken got the power, not really the direction. Straight at Skorupski. Luka was on the line to clear it just in case it reached him. Santiago Castro. Lukumi. Pobega with the switch. A little bit too high for De Silvestri, and Dan Ndoye is most probably going to make way now. Here's a chance for Cataldi, and Skorupski just getting his glove to it. If the Bologna medical staff are asking whether or not Dan Ndoye can reach half-time and then perhaps have a longer time to look at the Bologna player's leg. There are going to be 2 added minutes, but it looks like he's going to grit his teeth. Ndoye, there's the leg, the way it just turns immediately. His hand goes to the part under his knee. Limping, Dan Ndoye. He's there to head on, Castro. Guard. Pobega brings it down. Dominguez finds a little bit of space. Here's Odegaard. Then Ndoye, and he's put it wide. Been some way to finish the first half, that for Bologna. Dominguez to Odegaard. Odegaard trying to find Dan Ndoye. Goes at it with his left foot. Dan Ndoye just wonder whether he was unable to hit the ball with his right. The halftime whistle has gone here at the Renato Dallara It's goalless, but it's been anything but a boring match between Bologna and Fiorentina. Moise Kean has been kept quiet by and large by the Bologna defenders. And it is Bologna who have had the better chances overall. The score at half-time is Bologna 0, Fiorentina 0.
In 64, when everyone else tried to win on the straights, we won on the corners. Bending, swerving.
On that side, so rather than the right wing where it looked like he might be set up, there's not much happening down that side for Stuttgart at all. If Wagnerman doesn't provide the width, then it isn't forthcoming. Oh, no.
I think was not because was not the yellow card.
I think he's going to have to come over and explain that to the bench because Sebastian Hoeneß is wondering why they haven't got a penalty.
Yeah, of course, you would think if the defender gets a yellow card inside the box, you ask yourself why he gets a yellow card. Must be a foul. But I think it wasn't the initial foul. Like I said, I think something happened after between these two guys because both at the end, Voldemar and Gimba got the yellow card.
Fulham going in for that. It's a neat little flick away from danger. Demirovic can chase it down, and Felipe can chase it down. Trouble. Almost into the path of Wagnermann. Gimba. Ruo. Here's the space, and there's the ball for Fury. Up against Jensa, Chris Führich away, and Müller diving on it. There's that little reverse which led to the goal. It was a similar move just a moment ago. That time between Mittelstädt and Führich.
Yeah, that left-hand side with Mittelstädt, he's been in excellent form. Last year he was outstanding, became German international again. He really interprets the role fantastically how Hoeneß wants it, going forward offensively, putting pressure on the defense, a lot of runs from him.
Gimber and Wagner this time. It's a little push from Stuttgart's defender, just enough to topple Gimber over. Frank said that the fact Stuttgart had only won once away from home, they've not had the best of Bundesliga away record, definitely gave them belief that success would come back, and belief that they could get something here. Oh, that was a clever ball, actually, getting it bent the other way.
Yeah, a bit miscommunication here. He thought he's going deep, but then he came short.
Hasn't been the game for Demirovic so far. It's been Stuttgart's in terms of possession. They've been ahead in the challenges as well. Their pass completion, as you'd expect from a side as expert on the ball as they are, is pretty good. Normally a little higher, but only a couple of shots on target so far.
Again, Mio in the middle of the park. You can see that this is more the place where he wants to be, where he receives a lot more balls and can use his technical ability when he's out on the flank. This is not really his position. From there, he needs to come inside, and it's a longer way towards target. And also to find these deadly passes. But sometimes you have to do a job like the coach wants it, and he's definitely capable of doing it.
Half an hour in. Stuttgart ahead thanks to an excellent move down the left-hand side, involving that man, Voltemad. Führich can't quite slide it through. Mio can. Operates so well in tight areas, and now a free kick in a promising position for Stuttgart. Yeah, and it's the only way that they've found to try and stop Enzo Mio so far.
Yeah, and that's exactly where he wants to be, where he likes to be, because he's just so quick on his feet. His control of the ball is fantastic. You can almost not get the ball off him. So in these tidy spaces in front of the box centrally, he's obviously super dangerous to get this last pass. And there is in a much better position than if he would be on the right flank.
The cushion of a second goal is what they're after. It has not been vintage Stuttgart yet, but after European weeks, winning is the most important thing, and certainly for both of these two. Cardozo trying to make a nuisance of himself on the edge of the wall. They're not short of decent set-piece takers, Stuttgart. This is almost into the corner. Frame of the goal, and maybe a little glove, denying Chris Führich. That was brilliant.
That was a brilliant effort, and we've seen Führich doing this in the past. He's very good with the taking set pieces, taking free kicks.
Very close to a second Stuttgart goal, and meanwhile Sienza can go down the right-hand side. Chapeau didn't hear the call from Alexander Nübel. Now the referee has stopped it anyway. Yeah, there are little moments where he'll have to hope to tighten up in the second half, Sebastian Hoeneß, because his side are not always on the right wavelength. Foul in the back of Nübel by Pienge. By the way, the cup draw for the quarter-finals of the DFB Pokal has been taking place over the course of the lunchtime early afternoon in Germany. Stuttgart are in that. And they have just been drawn at home to Augsburg in the quarter-finals. Still active in that, on three fronts with the Champions League. Voltemade. Neo pulling out wide. Didn't get the kind of pass he was looking for, though he feels that that's because it hit a Heidenheim player on the way out. Let's have another look at this free kick. That's the woodwork shaking. It did hit the studs of Paul Vanner, I think. There is pressure on Ruo. Well, Sebastian Hoeneß saw it from his position.
Yeah, that was an obvious corner. The linesman has to see that, even though sometimes the angle is a bit difficult for them, but you got to see that the ball is going into a completely different direction than the pass, so he has to see it. Obviously, Hoeneß is not happy with that. A corner is always a good opportunity to score.
So he expressed his opinion, and he's been booked for it. That's not going to go down well either.
Will come in behind Castro. It was the first half with plenty of action, but no goals. Bologna and Fiorentina, who are looking to get themselves in the front foot, and immediately it might be Castro. It's come off the woodwork. What a lapse in concentration at the back there for Fiorentina, and Santiago Castro. It almost looks like he didn't connect with it properly. Ferguson with an immediate impact. Castro, who, if he did it deliberately, it was brilliant, hits the ball into the ground to avoid the slight tackle of the Fiorentina defender. Here's Beltran, and off we go immediately with that frenetic rhythm we saw at the start of the first half before things settled down somewhat as the game went on. Holm, Skorupski. Here's Beltran. A lot of history between these two sides. United by rivalry, of course, as Kozan's ball ends up harmlessly into the hands of Lukas Skorupski. Just 100 kilometres, give or take, separating Bologna and Florence. Big historical rivalry as well, which dates back to the Renaissance period, with both cities establishing themselves as beacons of that era. From a footballing perspective, first ever clash between these two sides was in 1928 in Florence, a game which was won 3-2 by Bologna. Both teams coached by Roman head coach Fulvio Bernardini, who won the title with Fiorentina in 1956 before moving to Bologna and winning the Rossoblu's last Serie A title in 1964. A team that at the time, their quality was so great it was dubbed as football that is played only in paradise. 5 years later, during Fiorentina's triumphant 1968-69 campaign, the only game that they lost throughout the course of that season was against Bologna at the Comunale di Firenze. Castro goes down. Ranieri guilty of committing the foul there on Castro. He's had the best chance of the match so far. Dodò stops Odegaard. Clever pass from Dodò. Adli. Now Gosens has been kept quiet from an attacking point of view. Berkeman. Lukumi. Home. Pobega, who is on a yellow card. Odegaard chasing this one. De Gea comes a long way. Castro. Home to Lewis Ferguson. Berkeman, De Silvestri, Dominguez. Has that ability to turn so quickly. Benjamin Dominguez, it's been causing problems. Pobega! A really fast move there from Tommaso Pobega. Well caught by David De Gea. Goes in, that's one of the goals of the season. Chesting it down and then putting it on the volley. Here's Moise Kean. Kean still stopped right at the last moment. Castro. Too clever for Comuzzo. Dominguez, tidy touch initially. Ranieri. Play once again. Fiorentina captain, and all of the players will have been mightily relieved when Edoardo Bove was discharged from hospital following his collapse against Inter a few weeks ago. Bove, who's been fitted with a pacemaker, he's still unable to return to playing action, but he was seen in the Fiorentina camp, given a rousing round of applause by the players when he returned to the first players meeting with the staff, accompanied by Danilo Cataldi, who was one of the first Fiorentina players to rush over to try and help him, pulled his tongue out of his mouth in order to try and protect Edoardo Bove and avoid him suffocating. Cataldi, one of the players who's been most close to Edoardo Bove. Both of them have, of course, played in Rome, one for Lazio, one for Roma. Here's Colpani. Ken's on the move. Pobega tracking back really well. Dominguez goes down. Castro sends Ranieri tumbling. There's a little bit of afters there between Ranieri and Santiago Castro. He's not going to back down, Santiago Castro, that's for sure. Bit of a shove there from Castro in the back of the Fiorentina captain. It all ends in a embrace from both players, who nonetheless are going to get a little bit of a talking to from Michael Fabri. Lukumi. Ferguson finds Odegaard. Here's Ferguson again. Pobega. Odegaard, Ferguson. Bologna have undoubtedly lost a little bit of speed with the substitution made for Dan and Doy. Ferguson brings a lot of ability in that midfield, combativeness. Bologna are going to have to come up with something pretty special. Fiorentina haven't conceded in their last 5 games away from home. In Serie A, that is. Adli, tailed by Dominguez. Beltran, he's kept on running. Berkham has a cross. It's given straight to Beltran, cleared by Holm. Castro chases, Comuzzo. Straight to Freuler. What a first touch that is from Freuler. Odegaard. Pobega coming through the middle. Odegaard goes alone, and he needs a very good stop from David De Gea. Just opened up for him there, Odegaard, and that was sneaking in, I can tell you. Reacts quickly, David De Gea. We expect no less of him. One of the finest shot stoppers in the game. Chance here for Bologna from the corner. Odegaard, it's low. Lukumi, Ferguson, Holm. And he's come a long way to press, and he's won back the ball. Now it's Cataldi. Skorupski comes. Punch is clear, De Silvestri, Holm, Cataldi wins it back. Beltran, given away. Pobega. On we go. Pobega again. Ferguson. Ferguson driving. Looking for De Silvestri, who just hung back. Now it's Ken. Ken still. Getting the better of Moise Ken there. And it's a Bologna ball. It's been a fascinating duel. Recognised by both players, who just check each other there. Change here for Fiorentina. Riccardo Sotil comes on, and Albert Gudmundsson is going to make way. Gudmundsson looks a little bit disappointed. Started the game very well. His first start in Serie A since returning from injury. yielded the results he clearly would have wanted. Gudmundsson, who has some very good statistics this season. He's only featured, this game included, in 6 Serie A games since the start of the season, and he's got 3 goals. Castro. Spot the run of Dominguez, that's a glorious ball. Dominguez, Gosens backtracking, Dominguez still. Freuler, and it's put away by Jens Odgaard. Since the start of the season, and he's got 3 goals. Castro. Spot the run of Dominguez, that's a glorious ball. Dominguez, Gosens backtracking, Dominguez still. Freuler, and it's put away by Jens. Better than Renato Dallara once again on cue. And it was started off by a brilliant pass by Santiago Castro. Look at that for a ball. Dominguez does well. And it falls very, very kindly to Odgaard. And Bologna have managed to do something that Fiorentina's last 5 opponents away from home have failed to do, and that is score against La Viola. Jens Odgaard has just gotten the better of the meanest defence in Serie A. And this sets up a very interesting final half hour of play here at the Dallara. Skorupski goes long. Ferguson. Bergkamp switch. Looking for the goal scorer, Odgaard. Pobega. Rolls, Cataldi does well. Still going, Tommaso Pobega. Holm. Dominguez. Never quite made the right contact there. Benjamin Dominguez. Almost gone down. A little bit of cramp there for the Swede. De Gea. Dominguez, Freuler. Bologna coming forwards and threatening a second here, Freuler. Bergkamp, Dominguez. Still a Bologna ball. Freuler. Ferguson. De Silvestri pokes it forwards. Cataldi away, but Bergkamp's in the way. Hadley. Lukumi. Beltran cushions it down. So many shirts around him, Beltran. Pobega. Very clever ball into Ferguson. Ferguson. Now Castro. Castro finds Holm. I think Vincenzo Italiano's reaction says it all. Santiago Castro is once again showing what a player he is turning into. The vision and the composure to put that ball on an absolute platter. And again, Bologna can come forward here. Gozens has made the mistake. Dominguez to Castro, too far ahead of him. Fiorentina rocking. They can't get the ball at the moment, La Viola. Freuler. Handball given against Beltran. Dominguez, once again, he's the one involved. Odegaard. Ferguson. Holm. Pobega, Lukumi, Berkema, Dominguez, Castro, Berkema, De Silvestri. Lucky De Silvestri, Sotil's gone down, De Silvestri still. Sort of thing that's given nowadays. From that angle, you realise just what a poor finish it is. Italiano, senseless at that miss. Dominguez, great second half. Dominguez, and he still goes. Adli, Cataldi and Adli need to regain control of midfield because Freuler and Pobega are absolutely dominating them at the moment. Spoken a lot about Fiorentina's excellent away record and the fact that they hadn't conceded in Serie A in their last 5 away games, with the chance of going 6 games in a row away from home without conceding for the first time in the club's history. Funnily enough, Fiorentina are playing their first away game since November 24th in the league, a match that they won 2-0 against Como. Lukumi. Had to get that pass spot on with Ken just lurking behind. Gozens. Berkema. Freuler, once again tidying up behind everybody else. Ferguson. Odegaard. Bologna, who played very, very well in the first half, have found a couple of extra gears in the second. Odegaard. Odegaard pokes it towards goal. Castro was waiting for the pullback. If he gives that one, Odegaard, Castro's got a free shot at goal. It's Ranieri who stayed down. He's caught a little bit there, Ranieri, as Odegaard stretched for the ball. Looks like he's going to be okay to continue though, the Fiorentina captain. This is the goal again. Tidy finish there from Odegaard. But again, what a ball from Santiago Castro. It's one of the best passes you'll see all season to pick out Dominguez. Berkeman and Lukumi have had another excellent game as well at the back. Moise Ken has had so little to do in this game because of him. Sotil round the outside. And came off Beltran last. No, the decision is a corner. The referee's just overruled himself there. It did look like it came off Beltran last there. Intercepted by Holm, Freuler. Dominguez. Acrobatic that from Dominguez. Looks like he's turning into a bit of a crowd pleaser. Benjamin Dominguez. Bologna can send the centre-backs forward here. A little bit clumsily runs into the back of Odegaard. In time now for the changes. Andrea Colpani, who's faded in the second half, makes way. Jonathan Ikone introduced in his place. And Danilo Cataldi also makes way with Richardson coming on. Comes the ball, Pobega. And there's Ferguson. Odegaard. Rosario Abiso has just told the referee to delay play for just a moment as something's being checked. There's nothing to be looked at in any sort of significance. Holmes' ball. Gosens away. Pobega. Dominguez. Looking for Odegaard, but he didn't get the connection right there. Ranieri have renewed their feud. Certainly not the elbow in the face that Castro is indicating. Sotil. Pass to Silvestri. Two players on his back. Ricardo Sotil. He's on the free kick. Silvestri with his arm leaning in the back of Sotil. Ken Fabri explains that he saw it as a foul. Last game before Christmas for Bologna will be a trip to Torino. Game next Saturday. Sotil screws it in. Put away by Odegaard. Dodon. Sotil got himself back on side. Low ball. Berkeman in the way. Adli miscontrols that one and Castro's off. Dodot with him. Castro just unable to control the ball properly. Holm. Emil Holm may have missed that chance, but from a defensive standpoint, which is his primary job, he's done very, very well. Dealing with the threat of Colpani and of Dodot. Berkema back to Skorupski. Ferguson. Referee spotted handball. Fiorentina, meanwhile, have another game in Europe before next weekend's action in Serie A, where they travel to Vitória Guimarães, the Europa Conference League, and then their last match before Christmas will be on home soil against Costa Runjai's Udinese. After Christmas, the Juventus for Fiorentina. Dodot. Freuler steps in. Ferguson. Here's Ranieri. Freuler trying to steal it. Odgaard got the tackle in. De Silvestri looking for Dominguez. Another sublime touch by the youngster. It's great skill. Freuler unable to match it, and then he commits the foul as well, Freuler. Stefan Posch is going to come on. Both teams at the moment are having a couple of problems with the left back and right back positions. Juan Miranda with possible injury, and Emil Holm here, whose game is up. Lorenzo De Silvestri, who is a veteran and has plenty of experience but doesn't have the legs anymore to really play at a sustained pace in Serie A, particularly when he has fast runners around him, which is why he struggled in the first half against Gudmundsson. Kojanis comes on, plays via Emil Holm, a more traditional left back, play on his left foot down that side, Kojanis. Fiorentina with problems themselves, but problems who are taking place more than anything off the pitch. Berkema taking no risks there. Cristiano Biraghi, who for many years was a certainty in the left-back position for Fiorentina, has consistently been left out of the team by Palladino. Dodot's done really well. Decision is a goal kick. Dodot disagrees. Cristiano Biraghi and Fabiano Parisi, who was bought from Empoli a few seasons ago for 10 million euros, are seemingly not Raffaele Palladino's plans at Fiorentina, which has caused the anger of their agent. Mario Giuffredi, who after the game against Lask, which seemed to be the final straw for him and the players he represents, said that his players wouldn't play for Fiorentina again and that they would leave during the January transfer window. Castro, free rein, off target, and he looked offside regardless. Was offside, Castro. Maybe not as clear-cut as it initially seemed, with Gozens covering him, well, not covering him, but close to the line there. But it does mean that if Biraghi and Parisi leave, Fiorentina are going to have to look for a new left-back during the January transfer window. Here's Dodò. Dodò, who is covered by young Italian Michael Kayode, Beltran, Ken, Richardson, Ikone. Richardson, Sotil, Dominguez. No foul, says the referee. Sotil has a really clever ball. Gozens, headed by Richardson and caught by Skorupski, who does ever so well not to just palm that away. Richardson doesn't generate enough power on the header. Good goalkeeping. Odegaard. Castro's rolled Comuzzo. Castro. Now Ferguson tees himself up, and De Gea has to take flight once more. Dodò. That's great play. Ikone. Richardson. Substitution. Made a couple of good saves, David De Gea. De Gea, who said to young Fiorentina goalkeeper Tommaso Martinelli, the third choice goalkeeper at the club at the moment, that if he kept a clean sheet in the Europa Conference League against Lask, that he would invite the goalkeeping coaches and all of the goalkeepers at the club out for dinner. Tommaso Martinelli did keep a clean sheet, so remains to be seen whether or not David De Gea follows through with his promise. Benjamin Dominguez with a sublime performance, and he is given a standing ovation by the Bologna supporters. It might be a real coming-of-age performance for Dominguez, 21 years old, only his 4th appearance in Serie A, and congratulated by everyone, including his head coach. Lorenzo De Silvestri also makes way for the last 10 minutes. Illing Jr. and Stefan Posch, the players introduced by Italiano. Ken. Ikone. Just caught there by Lykojanis, and a yellow card shown to Charalampos Lykojanis. Does catch his boot. I don't think he can have many complaints there. And the step on foot is an automatic yellow card in Italy, as explained by the head of the referee's body, Gianluca Rocchi. Had a meeting with us commentators not too long ago to go through some of the episodes of refereeing that we've seen so far this season, and made it very clear to us that the step on foot was an automatic yellow card. Ferguson's strike penalty behind that one. De Gea making sure that it was not getting past him. Italiano signals to his players to keep their heads, to think. It's something that let them down in their last Serie A match against Juventus. Adli, headed away by Ferguson. Sotil. Kone skies it. Bologna may have conceded 2 goals after being 2 up against Juventus, but they also managed to keep that clean sheet against Benfica in midweek in the Champions League. Result aside, which of course makes their qualification to the knockout stage is almost impossible, if not impossible. The fact that they were able to get a draw in that game just shows the character in this Bologna side. Here's Ferguson. Is this the second? He goes down under the challenge by Ranieri. And the decision is offside. A little bit of confusion there because Michael Fabri, who looked over to his assistant, initially pointed to the spot. But he's a long way off there, Lewis Ferguson. So correct decision without having to look at VAR. Plus for everyone involved. De Gea. Adli, Sotil, Ken. Pass Berkema. Ken still. Parisi, who's also come on for Fiorentina. In the meantime, Beltran off. Berkema still sticking close to Moise Ken. Five minutes to go at the Dallara. Adli's corner, headed away by Lukumi. Adli's corner once more, straight into the hands of Lukas Skorupski. Sits down for a moment. Fiorentina have made their 5 changes. They have no more substitutions available to them. The last goal that Bologna conceded at home in Serie A was against Atalanta, and Lazar Samardzic scored in the 90th minute. Kouame, Richardson, Kone and Kouame, who started Fiorentina's last Serie A game against Cagliari. Sotil, followed by Posch. Ranieri, Adli, guard, very, very astute defensively. Castro away from Richardson. Castro trying to do a little bit too much there. Milling Jr. was waiting for the ball and he's eventually lost it. Castro, if this leads to a goal. Late stage of the match, it doesn't look like Fiorentina are going to be able to get that record-breaking 9th Serie A win in a row. At this point, they'd probably settle for a point. Castro, Illing Jr. Completely miscued pass by Illing Jr. He had Pobega right next to him. Hasn't been given much playing time since joining Bologna, the Juventus man. Has to take his chance when he's given one. Comuzzo. Bologna have shifted their focus solely to defending. There's one goal lead that they currently hold. De Gea. Looking for the height of Kouame. Odegaard is in the way. Ferguson. Odegaard. That is great skill by Odegaard. I'm not quite sure how he did that, but it's going to be a yellow card for Pietro Comuzzo, bring him down, or brought him down rather. Comuzzo has been given plenty of praise so far this season, and rightly so, but he has struggled tonight, or today, against the speed and the skill of the Bologna attackers and midfielders. Santiago Castro also receives a very warm round of applause. Dalinga introduced for the last couple of minutes. We're about to head into added time. Castro's ball to pick out Dominguez will be the highlight of this match. Ranieri, Comuzzo. Comuzzo's lost it. He's really struggling now, the youngster. Dalinga. Odegaard. So clears only as far as Freuler. 4 minutes of added time. Bologna are about to cut the deficit with Juventus above them to just 3 points, and Bologna will have played 1 game less than the Bianconeri. As it stands, they're also moving above Milan. Icone. Richardson. Wasted opportunity that. Ferguson does well. Dalinga turned into traffic. Parisi. Freuler out of play, had more time available to him. Just wonder how much the absence of Raffaele Palladino has played on the minds of the Fiorentina players today. Palladino called away at the last moment after his mother sadly passed away. he wants this one to be played straight up. Headed away by Odegaard. Dodo. Dalinga wins it back. And Liko Janis is off. Kouame racing after him. Ferguson. Liko Janis, if the ball goes into the middle, there's no one there. Ferguson. Fiorentina may get themselves one last chance. Looked like that came off a Fiorentina player last. Bologna become just the second team this season to beat Fiorentina. Vinci Fiorentina.
More obvious for Celtic, but Celtic again, passing accuracy, that's a kind of identikit of a Brendan Rodgers side. They pass the ball well, they look after it well. The one thing I would say about Rangers is I think they need to do better when they get the ball in Rangers half. It's been a hot potato at times. There has to be more composure. Cherney, who I think is a very dangerous player, but most of the time he's helping the ball on. I think they need to do better. They've got to take a touch under pressure and make it stick so that they can actually, their defenders can get a breather in this match.
Good on the chase, proper across onto Jeffy. He's not afraid the fullback, a little bit of Brazilian flair in there. Just
yeah, that was nice.
Take a touch.
These little triangles here, this is what Rangers have to do better.
Bernardo, the foul. Referee John Beaton just very calmly gives the free kick.
But they've got to have this ability. I mean, it's definitely a foul. He's not played any of the ball, but they've got to have the courage to play out the back with the triangles, because McGregor, you'll notice, I've never seen McGregor playing as far up as this, but I think he realises that Rangers are already happy to allow the two centre-halves to have it. So McGregor is going to be redundant in that position unless he plays further up the pitch to get on the ball. That's how savvy he is. He worked out after 5 minutes that this is not going to be a traditional game that he would play domestically.
Tavernier loses out to Taylor. As in Maida. Clips it inside. Kyogo can roll you very easily. Leon Balogun, who's on the wrong end of that. Kyogo can do it, Tati can do it, Maida can do it. It's just one of these things, they seem to be taught well. That's that run of the body.
It's brilliant play, isn't it? It gets his body there. I mean, for me, this is a booking all day long, because the position that he's in the final third, that is effectively stopping a promising attacking move. I know that the match officials are told not to be too trigger happy. I think he's absolutely spot on there, John Beaton. Spot on. That is a yellow card all day long.
He was the referee for the first meeting of the season. 9 yellow cards shown, 4 for Celtic, 5 for Rangers, the first to date to Liam Balogun.
The one thing I always notice about this, you can see through the cut of the pitch, Paul, and it's interesting that John Beaton is going to pace this out. You can see that they should be way back, halfway, but I mean, it's not difficult to, you can actually, every cut, every section of the pitch is 6 yards, so you can measure out 10 yards a lot easier than you used to. It's very helpful for the match officials, to be fair.
And the spray foam, which was so novel when it came out, we're just now so used to. Celtic with a chance, straight into the wall from Bernardo. Taylor with a twist. Johnson. Tati with a head up. Proper away. Tati again. Balogun that time. Diamondi, that was clumsy. Referee's allowed play to continue. Johnson into the area, and Bayrami says he didn't get a touch. Well, he's not best pleased. The corner is awarded.
I mean, John Beaton had a decision to make whether or not to give a foul here. I mean, it's a collision. Quite a dull one for Alistair Johnson. He's not one that stays down unnecessarily, but I actually thought it was a good advantage by John Beaton because Celtic had good possession.
Celtic's first corner. Marlo Bernardo getting ready to take. Head flat, Chefty away. And Igaman sends it forward. Hatate to Taylor.
I think that's what I like about Hatate. His first thought when he's on the ball is always to play forward. Every single time he gets it, even though there's an option to play back through the centre halves, he largely ignores them because he's always thinking about how he can break the lines.
Played through on the angle, goalkeeper will come for that. Reo Hatate, it's not bad, he's won the league the last 5 seasons of his playing career, twice in Japan, 3 times in Scotland, so...
He's been a brilliant signing, hasn't he? I mean, he's an absolute Rolls Royce in there. You know, creative, clever, unselfish, good energy as well. I think that, you know, that kind of window of looking into the players being signed from the Far East has been a very clever move by Celtic because obviously Kyogo has been a terrific signing, Maid has been a terrific, I mean, you know, 3 from 3, you can't argue it. They've all been brilliant signings for Celtic.
Yeah, a couple of players, Iwata, that hasn't quite worked out for them. Yang Yit, the South Korean. But in terms of the Japanese, it has been terrific. And what was interesting, when watching Hatate's first game, you just knew, just watching him, instantly, 10 minutes, he's a player. Yeah, totally. I mean, guys like that, they stand out. I think that, you know, he's a very good fit for the model of Celtic in terms of buy cheap, sell long, because you could easily see that he could go, you know, along the lines of Matt O'Reilly. They bought him for next to nothing, and you know they could get a big fee for him, I'm sure, if they wanted to. But I think that they're savvy in the way that they sign players because they also look at, do they fit into our style of how we want to play? And I think that's the biggest advantage, is that, you know, Brendan Rodgers is very clear about how he plays with wingers, he plays with traditional number 9s, only one of them, and he plays with 2 number 8s. So their signing policy is made a lot easier by the fact that the manager has an identity about how he wants his team to shape up, and he doesn't compromise. You know, that it's been largely that way at all of the teams that he's managed. Hatate round the corner, on to Johnson. Proper gets it away. Igaman can't keep it in. When you get a new player in the dressing room, Stuart, what do you look for? How quickly do you know whether he is a player or not?
I think it's the mentality of how they train. There's a cliche, but I think that it still holds sway even now. You know, train as you play. You know, when you see players who play with a real intent, train with a real intensity, you know that they're going to be able to, you know, put that into matches. I dare say that, I mean, the work ethic of the 3 Japanese players that they've signed who have become stalwarts. You know, I imagine that's something they would have seen, you know, when they were watching games. That's how they know they're going to fit in.
Some work for Hatate to do. All 3 of those Japanese players all played over 100 times for Celtic. All got over 20 goals. Hatate 21, Maeda 39, Kyogo just the 81 in 153 games. It's not bad.
Yeah, he's been a very clever signing and an invaluable player. But Celtic, to me, they're not playing at the tempo that we're used to. Yes, they've had a lot of possession, but it hasn't been in areas that have hurt Rangers.
Hadji out to Tavernier. Tavernier wasn't again the best ball, but it might turn into something. There was no free kick there. Hadji was looking for it. McGregor though can't get past Diamonde. Jeffy opens up. Off Paulo Bernardo. Trusty with a head flick away. Journey to Tavernier. Hadji. Bayrami. Better from Rangers. Tavernier. That's a curling effort to the back post. Jeffy.
But that situation, Paul, just going back a couple of moments, you know, where Rangers had the ball popped out, they pinched it back off McGregor. That's where they need to show composure. You know, I'm not sure whether it was Jeffy or Bayrami, but someone pulled the trigger from about 25 yards out. You know, with bodies in front of him, it wasn't as if it was a clear shot of goal. It was a panic. You know, I said talking about being more efficient in the final third. They're not going to get loads of clear-cut chances against Celtic because you know how this game is going to develop. But they're going to have opportunities where they're 3v3, 4v4, and their decision-making has got to be better because there hasn't been a calmness about their play when they've got to Rangers' final third. Everything seems to be a little bit rushed. Even that cross from Tavernier, and you expect quality from him because he usually delivers great balls. It wasn't a good one. It was, you know, far too much pace, and they only had one target to hit. So they really should have recycled the ball and gone out the other side.
Trusty tries to get past Cherny. Bayrami was there. Egeman is offside. Fairly easy call on that occasion.
I'm not a fan of that rule. When a player receives the ball, we only see where he receives. He received the ball 4 yards onside. You know where he's come from. People say, well, he's seeking an advantage. You get no advantage if you receive the ball 4 yards onside. It's one of the rule changes I would like to see. Not where you were when the ball was passed, where you receive it. If you receive the ball 4 yards onside, the advantage is gone. So I'd rather see that played on. I think that's one of the things that FIFA have been talking about with IFAB. You know, a lot of people are complaining that the offside rule is far too complicated already. Everything in football is designed to keep the ball in play. We want to see the ball in play as much as possible. You know, when Egeman received the ball in that position, he wasn't getting any advantage by, you know, he may have been offside, but he came back into an onside position. I just want to see the game playing on at that stage.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, there was no benefit to the movement there.
It's just people saying it's always been like that. Yeah, but that's the offside rule. It's always been like that. Well, we're allowed to adapt the game on the basis that if we keep the ball in play more, it's a better viewing spectacle for the supporters, and ultimately that should be the aim.
It's well played by Bayrami. Plenty of support. He's going to go himself though. And if you're a Celtic player, you're quite happy to see that.
The break itself was excellent. The decision to pull the trigger from there is wrong because he's got Egeman and Cherny. He can pop that ball off. They're a 3-on-3 and he hits and let's be honest, it's not a great strike.
And if you're Schmeichel, you just say, oh, go on then.
I mean, Schmeichel would be extremely confident if someone's hit. It wasn't as if he was advancing into an area unchallenged. You know, he had bodies running back, and it's hard to get your standing foot in the right position. I mean, listen, the game's always easy when you're watching from the stand. We're all much better, you know, in that position. But he had two good options to his right just to pop it off and allow. I mean, Cherny's the guy that you want 1v1 in the final third.
Cherny on the ball now. Cherny. He can do damage from positions like this. 3 players round him. Tavernier is out to Maida. Oh, that's a terrible ball across. Well, from one centre-half to another, from one part of America to the other. And Hadji almost made them pay.
Yeah, I mean, they dodged a bullet there, haven't they? That was, I think it was Austin Trusty with a very poor decision.
Here's Kuhn. He can step back here, Kuhn. Blocked by Jeffy. Bayrami tried to slide in. Jeffy gets the ball away. Yamondi. McGregor did well. Balogun. There's all sorts of bumping going on after the ball's away. And Hadji that time concedes the free kick. We knew it'd be physical, it always is, but it's just 1 or 2 extra little bumps.
Both teams pressing and counter-pressing. A little bit of clumsy football here. I mean, it is a foul by Hadji. He wipes it, and Balogun gets a really sore one here. I mean, it's totally accidental, by Trusty. There's nothing he can do. But this pass, I mean, look, Hadji's eyes light up, and he just makes a pig's ear of it. I mean, it's a pass that if he takes it inside Carter, because he's 1v1, it's 8 yards out. this is where Kuhn is dangerous. Cuts back, and at this stage you're thinking he's going to pick someone out, but the movement from the players, Kyogo was out of the game, Maeda was marked, Bernardo was marked. I mean, Kuhn is a very good decision maker in the final third. He didn't have an option there.
This is concerning for Rangers. Already without John Souttar, and it was an accidental challenge. But you certainly don't want to lose Liam Balogun. Ioannis Hagi, on his 100th appearance for Rangers, got sent off against St Johnstone. You don't want to lose on his 100th appearance Liam Balogun to injury.
No, I mean, that's just an unfortunate coming together. It's a very sore one for Balogun, but Trusty was actually fouled in the first place, so there can't be any criticism of him in that situation.
Well, there's a man who knows how to score a few goals, Gordon Durie. He's got a hat-trick in the Scottish Cup final. Mark Hateley in behind him.
Yeah, two legends of the game, and two players who I'm sure would have enjoyed this occasion. I think that was, they both played in a very dominant Rangers side that more often than not had the upper hand. It's funny how things have changed. It's very much the other way around now.
Led away by Trusty. And the Rangers, I mean, what they could do with a Hateley or a Durie in their team right now. Some great players from both Celtic and Rangers of that time as well.
I think Diamonde has done a very good job in there today. I mean, you would imagine that he gets around the pitch. The reason that Clement selected him over Conor Barron is that he gets around the pitch better, and you know that you're going to need a lot of energy playing against Celtic. They're going to make you work. I think that was that would have been the mindset, I'm sure, from Clement when he was making the decision about who to play. Raskin again had an excellent performance in Europe on Thursday night, and he's a player that is very calm in possession. Unfortunately for Rangers, those two haven't seen much of the ball.
Balogun looks okay again, slid on to Tavernier. Good play from Hatate once more. And when he has it, he rarely misplaces a pass.
No, I mean, they're very good at playing in tight areas. I used to play with a guy at Hibs in Russell Latterby. We used to say you couldn't get the ball off him in a phone box. Celtic have got a number of players like that. Kuhn is like that. Maeda's like that. Hatate is like that. They look after the ball well. That's their MO.
There's Maeda up against Tavernier. Tavernier gets in front of him. And Balogun, realising that was not going to go to play quickly, launches it away. Taylor.
You see how high Taylor is. He's not your traditional fullback playing on the halfway line. He's 10 yards in Rangers' half, basically saying, "Go on, I want you to thread that ball into an area, and when you do, I'm going to pick up the scraps." And what it allows Celtic to do is win back possession again and basically start popping it around. This is the thing. It becomes tiring in the second half when you've been chasing after the ball a lot of the time. One thing that Celtic are doing when they're in possession is their heart rate is going down and Rangers' players' heart rate is going up.
Greg Taylor now in his 6th season at Celtic, the former Kilmarnock man. He's looking to win his 10th trophy, his 3rd League Cup. John Souttar, the man in the middle. Would have loved to beat John Souttar, the man in the middle of the pitch. It wasn't to be today.
It's a shame for Souttar because he obviously had long periods of his time at Hearts, his previous club, where he was out injured, and he's had to show immense mental strength to come back from numerous serious knee injuries. So a real shame for him to miss a marquee match like today.
He was an unused substitute in the final last year, so while he's got a winner's medal, he would have been desperate to set foot on what is a beautiful pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I know from experience that when you're a sub or an unused sub, it doesn't feel the same as when you've started a match.
I think 30 years, 40 years time, you can say how great you were.
maybe no one will question whether or not you played or not. Yeah. You probably erase that part of it. Yeah, I've got a winner's medal. just don't ask the question whether you started or not.
5 minutes to half time. Not a great deal of chances in the match. Arguably, Jack Butland's save from Nicholas Kuhn has been the high point for Celtic in terms of chances. And a terrific save from Butland. That's been given away. Here's a chance by Rami. Onto Igaman. Igaman, the chance for the opening goal. He took his time. This will be the opening goal. Net in by Rami, scores. What a moment. It's the first time he's played in this fixture. It's his first goal. And the Albanian international fires Rangers ahead in the Premier Sports Cup final of 2024.
And this is classic counter-attacking pressing. This is very much on Greg Taylor, a player that's so far been absolutely flawless. But he plays a pass, under-hits it, it's intercepted, and effectively they can't get back in time. It looks as if they've snuffed it out, but it's good composure by Igaman. Decent save as you would expect by Schmeichel, but it's an absolute clanger by Greg Taylor to put them in 2v1. You think the chance may have gone, but Bayrami just hoping, praying for any scraps. When Igaman hits the shot powerfully across the goalie, Schmeichel at full stretch can only parry it, and it is a simple task of tapping into an empty net. Classic counter-attacking play by Rangers, but a huge individual error by Greg Taylor.
Well, Jack Butland says no time to celebrate, it's time to think. And Rangers with the lead.
And I think when we spoke about this before the game, as much as you knew the bookies' favourites were strongly, Celtic before this game, their record, deserved that. But Rangers are a different side. They are more compact defensively, and you know that they've got a threat going forward. They haven't had a huge amount of attacking threat, but they don't pass up chances with people like Igaman and Bayrami in the side as they were when people like Dessers and Motondo were playing. Lots of chances when those two started, but they didn't finish them well.
Celtic seeking to come from behind. Well, they hadn't conceded in the last 4 games, Celtic. They kept 2 clean sheets in the last 2 against Rangers, and they will have a free kick here. Kasper Schmeichel got down so well, I think he actually got more of the ball than he possibly intended, because it came back out the middle rather than pushed to the side.
I think in the cold light of day, when you're analysing the goal, you're looking about what Celtic could have done better, and the simple kind of point, it starts and stops with Greg Taylor.
Yeah.
He's in relatively comfortable possession. They play out from the back. That's what Brendan Rodgers asks them to do, and let's be honest, they're very good at it. But there is always a risk when you're playing in your final third and allowing people to press. Rangers at the right time got enough bodies up to pinch possession back, and they made it stick.
Well, Celtic behind in this competition for the 3rd time. They were behind twice against Falkirk, and they came back to win by 5-2. But the colour of joy around Hampden at the moment is red, white and blue.
And it's interesting, Paul, we spoke about this earlier on. I was fascinated to see what would happen if Rangers could get their noses in front, because Celtic have dominated this fixture in recent years, usually because they're the ones who score first. The shoe is on the other foot now. How are they going to be able to handle this? They haven't had to handle much adversity this season. We mentioned they've only lost 1 game, and that was away at Dortmund against a Champions League finalist last season. They may have dominated possession. I think they've had 66% of possession against Rangers 34. The Rangers have had more shots on goal, they've had more shots on target, and they've had as many touches in Celtic's box as the other way around. So you can't say, people could argue it's against the run of play, but in actual fact, Celtic's attacking threat, other than the clear-cut chance for Kuhn, Celtic have had very little going forward.
Well, Celtic were behind against Bruges. They came back to draw 1 apiece. You can see the challenge from Jeffy and then the little slam down from Raskan. They've come back against Leipzig as well. As that's into the middle, just launch clear. The Rangers want to get to the break here. Johnston.
Look at the energy that Cherney is putting in when he's pressing now. I mean, he's got that extra 10 or 15%, you know, of kind of adrenaline that it gives you when you go 1-0 up. You know, Rangers will be on cloud 9, and of course, Clement will be looking at this thinking, get us in half-time 1-0 up, because that's when the players can have a reset.
3 additional minutes to be played. Celtic trailing Rangers by 1-0, headed by Rami on his Glasgow derby debut. Igaman, it's confirmation there of the yellow card for Jeffy for that challenge.
He's got to be careful because he's playing against a very clever player in Kuhn, who's going to keep taking the ball to feet, keep getting one-on-one, twisting and turning, trying to engineer another opportunity where Jeffy would get a second yellow card and get sent off. Rangers, for me, I can't see how they can win this game with 10 men. I know their nose is in front, but if it becomes 11v10, it's going to be waves of attack. They have to keep 11 players on the pitch. What they have done well, and Diamande has led this, their press has been very clever. They've set traps for Celtic. They've allowed their two centre-halves to have the ball under little or no pressure like this situation, but as soon as they pop short passes into midfield, they're on them. Just like this situation there, they've done it very well, and you can see this is where a manager like Clement you can see that they've worked on this situation here. They know when to press and when to sit.
Celtic looking for one final chance before the interval. Did keep that in. Tavernier launches it long. Back inside. Carter Vickers. The Rangers had to come from behind in the semi-final, but they lead in the final. Carter Vickers. Hadji, that's a free kick. Carter Vickers not happy with the attention. Hadji has to be careful, because again there's a cynical element to that, and by Rami just trying to reposition the ball. John Beaton.
It's interesting that, you know, that decision-making process for the referee about whether or not to book a play is based on, are you stopping a promising attacking move? Rangers had easily enough players behind the ball at that stage that it wasn't.
Here comes Balogun. Igaman's desperate for him to release it. Balogun's going himself. Still into the area. Balogun somehow gets that ball across, and Johnston hooks it clear, proper. Rangers have got both centre-halves at the edge of the area. Raskan, Rangers looking to finish the half with a flourish. Barami, Cherney brings it down, going for the corner, was well blocked. As Celtic are on the ropes here.
Oh, they really were. I mean, one, it's a great break by Balogun, but two, he has to play in Igaman. Igaman has actually given him the angle. He's shaped his body to say, just roll it in for me. He ends up going by himself, and he's made a bad decision right on half-time.
Absolutely unbelievable ending to this match. But it's Nejan Bayrami, the man who got the winner in the League Cup semi-final against Motherwell, that has made the difference in this final so far. Greg Taylor with the error, and Rangers made them pay. Nejan Bayrami with a golden moment. Kasper Schmeichel was beaten. It's half-time at the National Stadium in Glasgow, the Premier Sports Cup final. Celtic